If your kids only knew one story about you, which would it be? You've probably lived a full life, but how many stories will survive you? The ones you've told over dinner or the ones from your childhood? What if you could preserve all of them in your own words for the people who really matter the most? In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 steps to write a personal, powerful autobiography from start to finish, step by step. Whether you're writing for your family, your future readers, or just for yourself, this guide will show you how to take control of your story, because the truth is your story is worth remembering and you're the best person to tell it. Start with step number 1. Decide on the type and scope of your autobiography. So where do you start? It's simple, but it's also critical that you need to decide what kind of autobiography you're writing and who it's for, because not all autobiographies are sweeping cradle to retirement epics. Some of the most powerful ones are focused tight and thematically. Are you telling your full life story from your earliest memory to today? Are you zooming in on specific areas like years in the military, your journey through illness, or how you built your business from scratch? These are the differences between an autobiography and a memoir. Memoirs are more focused on meaning than timeline. They ask what the story I need to tell, not just what happened next. Once you've chosen your type, think about your audience. Are you writing for your grandchildren, for readers who you've never met? Are you just writing for yourself? Because that's perfectly fine as well. Your audience affects your tone, your level of detail, and even the stories you choose to tell. This step is about creating a container, because when you know the size and shape of your story, you're no longer staring at a blank page wondering what to do next. You're holding onto a framework. Next, it's time to start filling this in. For example, maybe you're writing about the decade you spent building your dream career, or your family, how you survived cancer, or your journey through motherhood, faith, identity, recovery, you name it. Step number 2 is research and outline your story. Now, once you've picked the kind of story you're telling and who it's for, it's time to gather your materials. And yes, you are the primary source, but you'll be surprised at how much you're forgotten or have tucked away or never thought about that was important enough to write down. This is where the research comes in very handy. First things first is take a walk through your own memory. Here's what you want to grab: a notebook, set a timer for 20-30 minutes, and just start scribbling, start writing. Ask yourself, what are the 10 moments in my life I'll never forget? Don't worry about getting the words right just right now. Just jot everything down, fast and loose. Just think about it. Then ask yourself, what are 10 moments I almost never talk about? These are really where the gold usually lives. These are the stories that shape you, but maybe you're buried under time, pain, or just the busyness of life. And once you've gotten those, get the list going, and you have to go even deeper. Flip through old photographs, albums, scroll back through your text messages, dig up old report cards, yearbooks, anything that's been sitting in a drawer or box for years. I know you've got it. It's collecting dust somewhere. These open doors to memories you didn't even know existed, and they're just waiting for you. You can also search out and reach out to family, friends, old colleagues. Ask them, what's the story that you remember about me? You'll be amazed at what people recall. And then it's time to create an outline. Don't worry, this doesn't have to be color-coded spreadsheets unless you're into that sort of thing. Think of your outline like a working document, a roadmap. It's not a prison that you have to follow. You're sketching out key points, chapters, scenes, transitions, so you don't have to get lost halfway through. This is incredibly important. Try breaking your life up into life beats. Beginning, what shaped you early on, your identity, the turning points, and conflicts. And what did they teach you? Triumphs. What did you feel you were most proud of, when you felt seen or free. Start with major chapters or sessions in your life. You might label them like growing up in grandma's house, my years on the road, the divorce and what came after, how I found my way back to myself. You can outline chronologically or by theme. Either way, make it sure it's flexible. A good outline doesn't just have to keep you on track, it helps you spot themes and patterns you might never have noticed otherwise. It's important that you don't rush the step, and most people want to get into the meat and potatoes and they want to dig into the writing, but this will take time, and getting this step right will help you because they will save you lots of trouble down the line. If you're feeling stuck, try the post-it note method. Write one memory per sticky note, then lay them on the wall or table. Suddenly your story starts to take shape when you do this. Step number 3 is crafting your story. So you've chosen your story type, gathered your memories, and built a rough roadmap. Now comes the heart of the process, writing your story in a way that actually keeps people reading. Unfortunately, even the most incredible life can read like a grocery list if it's not told well, and even a quite ordinary life can feel epic when it's written with heart, detail, and emotion. The most important thing here is to remember is that you're not just recording facts in a plain, simple way, you're reenacting how you felt at the time. In an autobiography, emotion is everything. So let's talk about how you can do that. You want to really craft out your scenes. Don't just say, I had a rough childhood. That doesn't tell me anything really. Take us there. You could say something like, it was the winter of '85 and the heater was broken again. I remember breathing into my cupped hands and watching the fog form, pretending I was a dragon just to make my brother laugh. So that's super powerful. Maybe not the best written, but it's a good start. Lets the reader feel what it was like to be you at that very moment. You can also want to use conflict, tension, and change in your autobiography. Every great story has conflict in it. Every life has conflict. I know that doesn't mean it has to feel like a Tom Cruise movie. It just means that something is at stake. Ask yourself these important questions. What did you want? What stood in your way? And how did you change because of it? That's the emotional spine of your story. It might be as small as learning to speak up at a meeting, or can be as big as rebuilding after a divorce. But readers connect when they see a struggle and they see growth. It's always important to be honest and selective. You don't need to include every detail of your life. In fact, you shouldn't. Instead, focus on what serves the story you're trying to tell. What supports your themes? What reveals your values, your humor, your scars? Cut whatever does not serve your story and keep what hits hard to the readers. Also, don't be afraid to show your flaws. The best characters, the best people are never perfect. We root for people who are real, who screw up. This includes you. You should think like a reader, even if you don't tend to show your book to anyone. Ask yourself, if this were someone else's stories, would I keep turning the pages? If the answer is no, tighten it up. Cut the fluff and add tension. You should raise the stakes. Find your emotional core of your story. Your job isn't just to write the truth, it's to write in a way that people want to read it. Ready to bring it all to life? Okay, step number 4. We finally start writing. There's a moment every writer comes face to face with what you've done, and now you have to prepare for the writing. So now the screen is blank, the cursor blips, and suddenly it feels very real. You realize, I actually have to start this. This is where step 4 begins. And the most important thing to remember is this. Your first draft isn't supposed to be perfect. It's not going to be good, and it's not going to be what you eventually publish. What it's supposed to be is real. Your first draft will be messy. That's exactly what makes it beautiful. It's everything you've been carrying inside, and finally, you get to spill it out. It's memories you've buried, scenes you've lived, emotions you've never written down before. Of course, the doubts will show up here. You'll hear that little voice in your head that's saying, this is not good enough. This is boring. No one's ever going to care. That voice is fear. And the best way to quiet it is to just keep on going, keep on writing, because something incredible happens when you stop trying to sound smart or polished and you just be true to yourself. Your real voice finally comes out, and it's the voice the world needs to hear. I can't emphasize that enough. Your only job right now is to get the story out of your head and onto the page, even if it's out of order or if it rambles, if it doesn't make sense. That's okay, that's perfectly fine. That's where the real work begins, because a messy first draft can be shaped, a clunky scene can be cut, but a blank page, you can't do anything with it. Remember, done is better than perfect, because the real writer, the real storytellers aren't the ones who get it right the first time. It's the ones who keep going when it gets hard. And when you finish that first draft, flawed and full of honesty, that's when the real transformation begins, which is where we get to step number 5. Pause and then rewrite. You've done the hard part. You've done the first draft. You've wrestled with your memories, your emotions, and that little voice in your head, but you didn't. You wrote your first draft. That alone makes you part of a rare group of people who just didn't think about writing their autobiography. They actually did it. So now, take a deep breath and put that draft away. Yeah, you heard me right. Close the document, slide the printed page into the drawer. Give yourself a week or 2 or even a month, because right now you're too close to your story. Your prose are great, you're an amazing writer. Every sentence, every detail has emotion, and that makes it almost impossible to see it clearly. Great editing doesn't happen when you're still emotionally attached to every word. It happens when you can read your own work like it is somebody else's. When you come back, you can do it gently. Read it like a stranger. Let yourself be surprised with what you wrote. Let yourself cringe a little when something is bad, and that's perfectly normal. That's part of the growing process as a writer. This is where the real craft begins. Your job in step 5 is to shape the story that's already there, that's on the page. You're not worried about commas or spelling at this point. You're looking at the big picture. You're asking, what is this story really about? Where does it slow down, not really work? What scenes feel alive and which ones fall flat? You might find entire paragraphs or sentences that need to go, whole chapters that don't serve the heart of your story. That's okay. That's not failure. That's just the writing process. Rewriting doesn't mean you did it wrong the first time. It just means you're getting close enough to the truth to start saying it better. Don't try and fix everything in one pass. That will just get too overwhelming. Think you're editing in layers. One read for story, one for your voice, one for pacing, one just for the emotional moments, the ones that hit you right here in the chest. Editing brings up just as much vulnerability as the writing does, if not more. You're probably second guess your choices. You'll be tempted to shrink the truth down. You'll reread scenes and wonder, did I really just write that? So take your time with the editing process. Don't rush it. This process probably takes several steps or paces to get it as best as you can before you can move on to the next step, which is to get a professional editor. So how do you find that right person to do a professional edit? Look for someone who understands an autobiography or memoir, someone who's edited life stories before. You want somebody who knows how to protect your authenticity while still challenging you to dig deeper, write better, and trim what doesn't serve your story. Ask the professional editor for samples, do a trial chapter, make sure that you find the right fit. You don't need an editor who fixes you, you just need to get one who understands story. And yes, editing can be an investment, but it's an investment in your voice, your story, and your legacy. So it's better to hire the right editor. And if you don't have the budget, start small. Work with a developmental editor first with the structure, or a copy editor just for the final polish. Whatever you do, don't skip this step. You've come too far to let your manuscript live in isolation. We've come to step number 7, which is publish your story. This is super exciting. We've come a long way. There's just one more step here. It's time to share it. The word publish sounds big and official and intimidating. Publishing doesn't have to mean big billboards and books or tours unless that's what you want, unless that's your goal. It simply means taking what you've created, put it into a form where it could be preserved and passed on as part of your legacy. Publishing is how your story story outlives you. Maybe you want to publish just a few copies for your children and grandchildren. Maybe you want to self-publish on Amazon and reach a wider audience and readers around the world. Maybe your dream of a traditional book deal is where you want to go and what you want to achieve. All these can be real. What matters most here is that your words don't sit forgotten in a folder on a computer somewhere. So how do you publish? If you want full control, this is how it looks when it comes to self-publishing, which is a great option. Platforms like Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, Ingram Sparks, and Lulu make it easy to turn your manuscript into a printed book or an ebook. If you want more support but still want to retain your rights, you might explore a hybrid publishing where you pay upfront fees and for services like editing, cover design, and distribution, but maintain creative control. And if you feel like your story has broad appeal or you're ready to query agents, you can aim for traditional publishing. It takes more time and patience, but it's a path many authors choose, especially if they're writing with a strong theme, message, or niche audience in mind. But here's what I want you to remember. Even if you only print 10 copies, even if you never hits a shelf, even if it's read by just a few people who need to read it, your story still matters. Your story is important. The act of writing it changes you as a person. The act of sharing it may just change somebody else's life, because someone out there needs to know that they're not the only one with the same emotions and feelings. Someone needs your courage. Even if that someone is your great grandchildren, 50, 100 years from now, publish it. Let your story find its place in the world, wherever that looks like for you, because you've already done the most important part. You didn't just let your story go untold, and now it's time to let it live. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.